No, but
All right, Mary becomes the new temple, right? Remember, she's the new Shekinah. She becomes the new temple, and she becomes the new Ark of the Covenant, the thing that's bearing God. So let's compare the two. We kind of done it a little bit already. Zechariah doubts, and he doubts in sacred space. Mary trusts, and she trusts in an ordinary home of poverty. Zechariah's silence, right? You don't trust God, then you're silenced. Mary's response is to sing her fiat, right? And it's beautiful. And it's in her fiat, her consent that, right? Zechariah doesn't need to consent for this. Notice that difference too. Zechariah doesn't need to be consented. He just needs to be informed. Mary has to consent. She's getting pregnant. It begs the question, what about Elizabeth? I don't know. It's not in the Bible. I guess she begged for it, so she's going to get it, and that was her consent, maybe. Mary didn't ask for a baby. God asked her to have a baby. So Mary consents, and that's important, that she has a role to play in salvation.
Wasn't she a consecrated virgin? I mean, hadn't she?
Mm-mm.
No?
Mm-mm. She's betrothed to Joseph.
I know, but...
That came after the Annunciation.
Okay. So...
Unless you're aware of something that I'm not aware of.
I'm sure I'm not.
there is a line I've heard other people talk about. Perhaps Mary had consecrated herself to virginity and became betrothed to Joseph with the understanding that they were going to have one of those Josephine marriages where they weren't going to conceive, like they weren't going to consummate it or something. I mean, I don't know where, I can't quote anything.
I've heard that too.
That's not something I'm familiar with, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's out there.
And that he was
There's a lot out
aware.
there.
Yeah.
There's out there that Jesus was born in April.
That
Because the shepherds would have been outside of the winter. Where else are they going to be? They're outside year round. Stop with your stupid arguments. I just don't get that part.
Yeah.
Or my favorite, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to beat up on Protestants, but my favorite kind of stupid thing. If you go to Jerusalem, there's the Protestant tomb and the tomb. There's this little garden tomb off like a side street in Jerusalem. And all the Baptists and Methodists and everybody, they go, oh, go there. And like, this is where Jesus rose from the dead. And when you ask anybody, well, why do you think this is where he rose from the dead? Their answer is, well, because it's a garden tomb, and that one over there isn't in a garden. We built the church around the garden. I mean...
We encompass the garden with the church.
Also, this is the spot that's been revered as the place of the tomb for 2,000 years. Your religion's only 500 years old. What are you talking about?
And don't you know that these
Just
people...
why are we making things up? We don't have to make anything up. It's there. It's there.
There were people that were there that saw it.
Right.
Knew about
And the
it.
apostles would come and venerate it. The followers of Jesus would venerate the tomb then. It never stopped. I mean, Mary Magdalene went there 3 days after they put him there, and it was empty. And they went back and they investigated, and they kept going back and back and back. We know exactly where the tomb is. It's in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which means tomb.
Imagine that.
I know, right? Well, it's not a Catholic church. It's shared by 7 different churches. It's Catholic and Orthodox. And then between the Catholic and the Orthodox, the Russians, the Armenians, the Latins, the Greeks, and the Greek Catholics, it's always fought over. And in fact, it's such a contested spot that, we have different, when you go in there and you expect to see a church, you're not going to see what you think. It's chapels that are stacked on top of each other, and they're fighting over who gets what. And even the tomb has 4 altars in and around it and on it, and everybody has to have their own Paschal candles. So there's a forest of Paschal candles at the tomb, which is fascinating. And it's been so contested that they can't trust any one person to have the key to it. So what they did was they hired a Muslim family 500 years ago to be the people who open and close the church every day. because none of the Christians can be trusted to have the key. So here's this little Muslim man who comes every morning at 4 a.m. and unlocks one of the holiest places in Christianity, and then at 10 o'clock at night he comes over and he locks it because we're all fighting over it because we all own it. And then when the roof has to be repaired, we all fight over whose responsibility it is. And it's called the status quo. We're not allowed to break the status quo. So much so there's a ladder that is going up to the top of the church on the outside. And one year it disintegrated and they had to put it back. And so they had to sneak in the middle of the night to do it. And then there was this big fight over who built the ladder and put it back. And we can't just put things back. And then, well, you can't remove the ladder because who gets to decide if the ladder gets removed? The ladder stood there for 400 years, and it's the second one because the first one deteriorated. So it's very interesting that's the tomb, and then the Protestants like, no, it's on the other side of town. And the Armenians and the Russians are like, go away. We're all fighting and rolling our eyes. I mean, it's fun, and I say all of this with love and fun. Just to have fun. Okay. All right, John versus Jesus, the forerunner versus the fulfillment of the forerunner. John prepares the way, and then Jesus brings salvation with him. Everywhere he goes, that's the point of the miracles. The point of miracles is not, we need to bring new life. We need to give sight to the blind. It is, look, this is life himself. Everything is under his command. You're blind, you're not blind. You're dead, you're alive. You have leprosy, you're clean. And it's meant to be a testimony to who he is, that he is bringing salvation and redemption into the world with him. The miracles are not important. They're not. They're parlor tricks, to be honest. What's important is the conversion of our hearts and our unity to God. And they're just supposed to help us identify him. I pray for miracles all the time when I don't get it. Because God doesn't work that way. He gives miracles when he's doing something by them. If I break my leg and God heals me, it's not just because God wants to heal my leg. It's he's doing something else. Something more important than just my leg's health. Right? God is seeing from the bigger perspective. Okay. Their missions cannot be separated, but they must be distinct. And so the two Annunciations create this theological bridge between Israel and the church, the Catholic Church. Right, the Shekinah has to come from outside of the temple to be brought back to the temple, which is why, it's so beautiful. When they make the pilgrimage to present the Lord at the temple, they sing the psalm, "Let us go up to the house of the Lord," because they're carrying the Lord to his house. Right, Mary brings the Shekinah and puts him in the temple, and Jesus gets lost in the temple. What do you mean you didn't know where I was? And I'm the Shekinah. I was in my Father's house. I'm the presence of God. Of course I'm in my Father's house, right? Like, it's everything's being fulfilled. And so that's the theological connection between the temple and the Eucharist today. Is everything in the temple is being fulfilled. So God's plan unfolds through grace in history with our cooperation. Right? There's these two heretical ways of thinking of God on the two extremes. On the one hand, we think of God as a watchmaker. Right? What does a watchmaker do? He builds the gears, he sets it in motion, and it's quartz, so it just keeps going. So once he's done creating it, he just lets go of the watch. And the watch does what the watch wants to do. Mm-mm. But then there's this other extreme of saying he's the puppet master. What's a puppet master? I'm going to control every little motion. Right? If Mary Beth decides to interrupt Father Nicholas one more time, it's because God told her to. No, neither one of those are true, right? Neither one is true. Yes, God sent humanity in motion and lets us carry through, but sometimes God does intervene and tell Mary Beth to interrupt Father Nicholas one more time. But it's not, it's a blend of the two. It's in the middle of those two extremes where the reality is.
God's not ADD like I am.
No, nor is he ADD like I am. He's very focused. So it's that God is, he's the creator of all things. And the beauty of the incarnation is that he's also in all things. Right? He's not only holding history, but he's entered history. He didn't just create us, but he touches us. And it's the sacraments that God left us. It's the incarnational residue. Right? I'm baptized with water. The water has to touch me. There has to be a laying on of hands. There has to be bread. There has to be wine. There has to be water. There has to be oil. Because God is touching. It's God's intimacy with us. Okay. Those are the two Annunciations, John the Baptist and Jesus. Final questions, thoughts?
I've never even really thought about it being the Annunciation of John the Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the same.
I mean, yeah, it just means to announce. It's not like it's.
Right.
I sent out an Annunciation last night. Did you see it? The heater's fixed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could feel it when I walked out. I heard it when I walked
Yeah.
out of the church.
Same time next week.
Yep. Same time next week. Nothing else?
What is your mission on that you're doing?
It's marriage night. Father Dan and I are going to be doing a marriage night for St. Bede. Like we did here.
Similar to like.
The exact same thing that we did here.
Oh, that's good.
Did St. B come here? Or those are just for us? When it happened
No,
here?
no, no.
Okay.
We just advertised it in Mobile. So there were lots of people from throughout Mobile
Uh-huh.
and Baldwin County, surprisingly. But no, I don't think anyone from St. Bede was there. Except for the people who used to be parishioners at St. Bede are now parishioners at St. Pius. They were here.
You have a following.
I guess. I guess.
And then following you, following the Lord, we hope, right?
Pray God.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, I didn't even get through but half of it, and I had all kinds of notes, but
All right, chapter 3 next week.
that's a little small, I think.
I would advise you to put chapter 2 aside and come back to it after we're done.
Okay.
And just kind of keep up with us.
That'd be
Yeah.
good
No,
advice.
yeah, I wasn't going back to read it. Not now.
No,
anyway.
read chapter 3. And just, I mean, and obviously you can gain from this without reading, but
Right,
don't cheat yourself.
no.
But don't break yourself either. It's only 30 pages this time, as opposed to 44.
Yeah, that's a little.
It's 50% longer, or shorter. Yeah, so we'll do chapter 3, and then I got to figure out when we're going to do chapter 4 during Christmas week. Maybe we'll meet on Tuesday instead of Wednesday or something like that, because Wednesday's Christmas Eve. And then maybe we'll do the same thing the following week to do the epilogue. Because we got to do the 12-year-old in the temple. We can't skip that. So,
I like this.
me too.
It's good.
Wish more people came.
I appreciate having an alternate time because it's always in the middle of choir practice and we
Mhm.
can't do that. So
Yeah,
having this not enough days in the week.
there's not. Or time in a day. Well, hit that red button before I make a comment.
Is it this
Yeah.
red?